2025.
It's the 20th of January 2025.
Okay. It's the 18th of January 2025. And as I'm talking to my phone, I feel unsafe. Do you know how many bad things happened to me in this room?
My biological father abused me for the majority of my life until I came into the care system in 2021. For 7 months whilst I was in the system, I was being abused. I didn't put myself in a situation. This is the placement that the system found for me.
Hello and welcome back to GloTalks, where we amplify voices often left unheard. Born and raised in Camden, Wealth is a young Congolese woman who survived unimaginable hardships, from abuse in a religious cult led by her father and stepmother. As a child, she was forced to sleep in a cage with no sunlight, trafficked between warehouses, and subjected to rituals that no child should ever endure. Even in care, the very system that was supposed to protect her sold and exploited her and profited from her pain. Yet, from this trauma, Wealth has found her voice, sharing her story through TikTok and YouTube. Let's welcome Wealth. Hello, Wealth. How you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very well. How's your day been?
It's been good. It's been good. How's your day been?
It's been alright. The weather's getting a bit hot, innit?
Yeah, really hot today.
I think yesterday was like 29 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Yesterday was really hot.
Usually on my podcasts, I like to play a little game. But your story is very touching and very moving. I thought I'd just ask you 2 questions from my Would You Rather games.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah? All right, cool. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Question 1. Would you rather relive your most challenging moment with the strength you have now, or skip it entirely but lose the lessons you've learnt from it?
One more time.
Would you rather relive your most challenging moment with the strength you have now, or skip it entirely but lose the lessons you've learnt from it?
I wouldn't skip any experience that I've been through, which sounds so crazy to say out loud, because my experiences were so in the moment.
Yeah.
It was probably eating me up.
Yeah.
But when I look at myself today, to get myself to this point and where I am today, it's nowhere near perfect. But I feel like the version that I am today, it's the only reason why it's here is because of the past.
Yeah.
And so I won't skip any experience. I feel like it's happened, and the way that it's made me how I am now, I'm kind of thankful for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree. Like, it's a bit cliche, people say, I am where I am today because of what I've been through. And I believe it, do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like everybody goes through different challenges, different tasks in life, and it builds you to become stronger, especially if it's hardship. The harder your struggles are, the harder the things you have to go through, the stronger person, the stronger human being you become.
I think the way I look at it as well, every single time something happens in my life, I think what pulls me through it is just by reminding myself of the future. What is it that you actually want in the end?
Yeah.
Sometimes I ask myself, okay, what do you want tomorrow? What do you want next week? But then I've started to now kind of start asking myself, what do you want in the end? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to go to uni? What do you want? And then I guess it makes the present it's okay, to get to the past, I have to conquer the present.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of pushes me even more.
That's a very good answer. Thank you for that answer.
Thank you.
Question 2. Your last question, by the way. Last question. Would you rather have the system finally acknowledge its failures and compensate you, or have it transformed so no one else experiences what you did?
Compensation won't get rid of, it won't erase what's already happened. I think what's already happened has happened, and so no amount of money will fix that. And I personally, like, I think I've said this before on TikTok, I see myself as kind of not, I don't know how else to say it, but like a lost cause.
Yeah.
Like, I don't speak on TikTok to get help for myself, because I think I've reached a point in accepting that I've turned 18 now, I've aged out the system, and still things are how they were prior, even worse, in fact. And so I've kind of had to kind of accept that maybe I might not get the help, but I think other people could benefit from getting the help if I do keep speaking.
Yeah.
And so I'd much rather other people get the help than I get the help. I think it would make me feel a lot better, and I don't know, I just feel more comfortable with that.
When did you turn 18?
In March, end of March.
So you are, what year was you born? 2000
7.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, I don't want to hear about 2007 being crazy.
No, it is. I mean, to me, it's crazy. Like 2007, I was born in 93.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
That's what I'm saying. I must be like some dinosaur.
That's actually crazy.
And there was actually a stage in my life where when I was 18, I thought like I'll be forever young. And now I'm sitting here with you, and it's like, yeah, it's good though. It's good that my channel allows me to have different age groups, because like I've got different viewers that are definitely going to be interested in you and your story, and it just highlights what different people go through no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I appreciate you for even coming here to sit with me and telling me your story.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into anything, I want to get to know you. You know, I want to get to know you as a person, who you are, like your upbringing, your trials and tribulations. Let's start off with yourself when you was a little girl. Was you born in this country?
Okay, so I was born in Camden, Royal Free Hospital.
Yeah.
Well, see, when I was born, my parents were never together to begin with. So I was born, and my mum had my other siblings. So I have an older brother, an older sister, another older brother, and then it's me. And obviously when I was born, I was living with my mum for a little bit. And then I guess from the beginning, like from since I was born, just even before I came out of the womb, things were already going on. Like I wasn't even here yet, and things were going on. My mum was facing abusive behavior from my biological father while she was pregnant with me. I've always heard stories about things that he's done to my siblings, incidents of hot water and stuff. Yeah. And so it's kind of like before I even got into their hands, kind of chaos was already happening. I was already being brought into like a dysfunctional family. But when I was born, I wasn't allowed to see him. I didn't see him until randomly when I was about... I was young. I was a baby, I guess, when I saw him. And then eventually court orders and stuff, because he then had to take my mum to go to court to see me because of how he was in the past. My mum didn't want him to be around. Yeah. And my mum, she's known him for such a long time that I guess she knows him. She knows him better than he knows himself. Let's
slow it down a bit. Let's break down what you've just told me. So you was born in Camden. You've got siblings that was already here before you. Yeah. Obviously, your mum was being abused essentially by your father, and you was just born into it. So what was life like for you as a little girl growing up with your siblings?
It was, as I got older, it was very difficult, but it was difficult because I had 2 homes, whereas my siblings had 1 home. Yeah. So I think automatically that created a lot of issues because, like, they all just had my mum. I was the only sibling that was having contact with, I guess, their father. Yeah. And that caused rivalry between my siblings. And then eventually, when I had to kind of pick between the 2 worlds that I found myself living in, I chose the other world.
So your siblings' fathers wasn't around?
No.
So your mum was a single mum before she met your dad?
Yeah, my mum she still is a single mum, but my mum was a single mum. She does a good job, like an amazing job. There's 6 of us in total. Yeah. And my mum has looked after every single one of us.
Yeah. And you said that your mum was being abused. Did your mum not get support for the abuse that she was getting by your dad before you was even born? Or
my mum is a very, very, very traditional Congolese like woman, very traditional. like, you could have anything happen to you in this world, but tears are not allowed. You can't be weak.
Yeah.
Like, when something happens, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
My mum's that kind of person. Like, she has her own story, her own life and stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I could take away from my mum, one thing I learned as I've been growing up, is you just have to keep showing up. You just have to keep going. Like, she doesn't do the whole crying thing. She doesn't do the whole let you be down for a bit. She will never let you be down. She's just like, nope, life keeps going on. And I guess it's positive. Like, it's a good thing. But then again, it has its negatives, because it's kind of like, sometimes I feel like when stuff are going on, I can't come to her because she's going to constantly make me feel like I always have to be fine.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not fine, and I feel like she needs to, like, let that happen. But then other times it is positive, because sometimes I do need to get up and keep going.
Yeah.
But she never... My mum, she's never wanted to, like, you see how I like to share my story and let people learn? My mum's like that. She's very much like, you don't know what that person could do. You don't know how, like, she's very cautious.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because I guess her past has made her have to become, like, very hyper vigilant and, like, aware of other people. And I do find as well, like, as I got older and seeing my mum kind of speak up for herself, I realised that speaking in the system and to professionals who don't understand black people as well, it's kind of like you're speaking to a brick wall, like you're wasting your voice.
Yeah, definitely.
So sometimes when we was younger and as, like, things developed and social services got involved, I would listen to my mum, like, speak. Like, she has an accent. She has a very, like, thick French accent. I listened to her speak and kind of watched the way professionals would respond to her. And I noticed the difference between her, like, how she would speak and the response she would get compared to my biological father.
Yeah.
Because his English was a lot better than her English.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was always, it's like, people mocked her because they didn't really understand her, when what she was saying, it all makes sense to me now. So when I was, like, little, like, when I was first born, I think they tried to live together, and then because of how abusive he was, he ended up leaving.
Yeah.
So he wasn't there for, like, a very long time, but, like, he'd been around the other kids, but other incidents happened. So he wasn't just abusing my mum, he'd hurt my siblings as well. And then obviously I came to the picture.
Is your dad Congolese as well?
Yeah, fully Congolese.
So you're full Congolese.
Yeah.
And it's just mad. Like, when you say your dad was abusing your other siblings, you even mentioned hot water. Could you just help me understand that?
Because the thing that I've learned about my biological father is that certain methods of, like, punishment that he would use was very much normalized for them back in Congo, because he lived in Congo with his family. Yeah. So let's say if I was to go to his mom or be like, he threw hot water at me, whatever, she'd kind of be like, what would you expect? Like, whereas talking to people here, especially in the UK as well, not in that country, the response I tend to get from people is kind of like, what? Like, wow, why would he do that? But I guess essentially, obviously I wasn't there, but all I remember happening, because my mum told me, was that my older brother was in the bathroom, and with the way, like, in the shower, you know, you have to swap the water to make it even, and he just turned on the hot, and he was just holding the water over my brother.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I was born in Congo. I can say I'm Congolese, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I've never heard of those kind of methods, and it's weird because I totally believe you, because Congo is just messed up. Everyone in there is kind of messed up. And when you say, like, punishments, it's a key word that you used, punishment, because that's exactly what it is.
It's not discipline.
It's not discipline.
They punish you.
Yeah, it's not discipline. It's actually punishment. And to put hot water on your own child and watch them burn, it wasn't his child, is actually, which probably even makes it worse. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Had your siblings, like, when you was getting a bit older, did they ever, like, open up to you, or, like, try to protect you, or, like, you know, where he was your dad, did they ever, like, tell you, like, your dad's a bit nuts?
Every single person in that house hated that man, and I think that's what made me more intrigued as to why, because it's not like they hated him and anyone would explicitly tell me why they hated him. Yeah. It was just always, he's a bad man, he's such a bad man. Yeah. But he's coming to pick you up, he's not allowed to look at us. Like, just small petty things that let me know that, okay, something is going on, but I don't know what. And I feel like because I was so intrigued, it did bring me a lot more closer to him as well. Yeah. Because I saw a side to him that I don't think he revealed to everyone else.
What side was that?
Like a more vulnerable side. Because on the outside, like, when I look back and I remember him, he was very, like, he's so hard to read.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to read. But as I got to know him and the more I kind of found out about his other side, like his other way of living, I started to kind of get his more vulnerable side rather than the kind of just blunt and blank person that he was. Yeah. But my siblings, they have always like stuck to their opinions on him about him being a bad person. Yeah. But it affected our relationship. Yeah. Especially when I got exposed to his way of living compared to how my mum was living, and I had to kind of pick. Yeah. Essentially, I picked my biological father over my siblings because, and this is something that I feel like many people who have separate parents can like relate to. Yeah. But it's like when your parents are separated and you always have to pick between the two. Yeah. It's so like difficult because if I pick my biological father, that means that I can't see my mom, I can't see my siblings. If I pick the other side, then I can't see the other side. Yeah. And even growing up as well, that's what I experienced because when I was living with my mum, I wasn't able to see my biological father and my siblings from that side. When I was living on that side and I was a part of the cult, I wasn't allowed to see my other siblings from my mum's side. It's like I kind of had to pick, and essentially what I did was I picked my biological father, and from the first time when I was 11 and I picked him, and I left, my relationship with my siblings has never been the same, like ever. Does your dad have any other kids with any other woman at the time? No, I'm his first. I'm the first. Okay. Then after me, there's my little brother. Yeah. And then after my little brother, there's my little sister. And then just when I got taken out of the house, a little baby was born. Different mums though, or same? Different mums, just same male. Yeah, yeah. So tell me, like, obviously, you've noticed that your siblings are not getting along with your dad. It's built a bridge, it's built a divide between the two of you. So you said you started connecting more with your dad's side of living. Tell me about that, your first experience when you stayed at your dad's house. What was that like and how old was you? So, with my very first experience living with him or visiting him? Let's start with visiting him. So my first experience, like visiting him, that I always go back to was when he was visiting me in McDonald's. Yeah. And obviously my mum was supervising that, and that's where, I guess that's where everything kind of stemmed from. Like that's the root. Who put that supervision in place? Was that social services, or was that just your mum being cautious? No, it was court ordered. So my mum didn't have a choice, because I remember like sometimes she wouldn't bring me, and then she'd get in trouble. Social worker would turn up and say that she violated something. Yeah. But we'd be at McDonald's and literally my mum would be at a different table. I'd be at a table with him. Sometimes he'd bring, like, every other weekend, there was always, like, a different woman with him. Really? I never, ever saw the same consistent face. I always just saw a different woman. What? So he's bringing another woman to see you and your mum's, like, just over there? Yeah, but eventually my mum stopped coming. Like, it stopped being her to come and sit. I don't know the woman's name, but I just remember her face, this black woman. Yeah. I just remember this other black woman sitting there and then walking me back to my mum's house after. Yeah. But whilst we was there and we was in McDonald's, I don't even know what I thought when I first got told that, okay, you're going to start seeing this man who's apparently your dad and da-da-da-da. Because I remember first he was so big on me calling him dad. Was he? Yeah, like so big on me calling him dad, and so kind of like, oh, like I have a daughter, like he was very showy off, like, because I guess I was the first. Yeah, of course. But quickly, I think a couple visits after, like my first visit, I remember there was this one occasion I came back from McDonald's and I had a pink Barbie car. Yeah. And my mom asked me like, oh, why'd you keep taking things from him? And I said, oh, today I got it because like I learn't new rules and stuff. And obviously that's where the introduction of the 112 rules that I learned came. And obviously as a child, like firstly being introduced to me, I didn't question it. How old was you when this was introduced to you? I was young. Like I have pictures of like how old I was, but I don't remember the age, but I was young. Yeah. Like I'm talking like little. I probably still just came off nappies or something. But I never questioned him. Like when he brought it up and like learning the rules, I never questioned him. And like even when I look back at it now and I'm thinking, how exactly did it start? It's happened for so much of my life that it's so hard to pinpoint the exact time that it started. Yeah. But I just know that the rules became my life. The rules became basically like a mantra that I repeat in my head all the time. And then bit by bit, it just pulled me away from the whole world. And it was like me, my biological father, and his cult, one side. and then the rest of the world on the other.
So you came home with a pink Barbie toy.
Yeah.
And you was rewarded this toy by your dad because you just learned 112 rules.
I think at that point it was because I don't think I learned the exact 112, but like what he would do, like how it worked was I'd sit there, he would say the rules, and then I'd repeat back to him and say, this means that when Papa says da 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 da, then like stuff like that.
Tell us, what was these rules?
For example, one of the rules was that I was an object to men. So this rule, I don't know, I always remember this one because he always repeated it. Like even when like I'd go through my rebellious stages, he'd be like, what does the rule say? Like to kind of bring me back. Like, what does the rule say? So that you're an object to men. But he'd be like, so here in the rules it states, and then he'd say that my name, the name that they'd call me by in the group, because I didn't go by wealth there, and say is an object to men, hereby said by, and then the person who made the rule, which obviously I can't say his name, but by him. And I would just repeat back that my name is, I'm an object to men, and I believe da 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 da. And sometimes it was hard to always repeat back, especially because it was so much information I had to take in.
Could imagine.
And that shift, like, in like different worlds and different beliefs, it was hard. But eventually something in my brain just got it, and I just started to pull away. And I think it's because things in my mum's house started to get really, really bad.
In what way?
My relationship with my siblings was completely done.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even feel like it's 6 of us, but it felt like my mum only had 5 kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's particularly because of anything they've done. I don't think it was because of them. I think it's just because I just didn't feel like I was included in the house.
Yeah.
Even certain, like, because I'd go away and I was the only one seeing my biological father, I'd come back and, oh, we did this, we did that. Like, I just didn't feel included in anything. And we just didn't have that relationship, like, I don't really know how siblings are meant to be, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But how I see my friends and their siblings now of, like, you know, talking or, like, kind of like that arguing thing, we just didn't have that. It was awkward and tense between us, and just made me feel uncomfortable. And then every time I'd come back from visiting my biological father, everyone was just silent and no one wanted to speak to me. And then eventually I got closer and closer to him, and he started to teach me to basically distance myself from my family and see them as enemies. And I think when that shift in my brain happened and I started to see everyone that wasn't a part of the group as an enemy, I feel like that's when the world kind of lost me in a way.
Did you ever tell your mum about these rules? Like, did you ever come home and be like, Dad's teaching me these rules?
My mum tried to protect me so many times.
Yeah.
Like, so many times. But I think what people need to understand, like, obviously I don't study psychology, I simply speak from experience.
Yeah.
But when a child is exposed to that kind of environment, especially like a cult environment, and they start to see everyone else as an outsider, it becomes so hard to accept help.
That's
because
true, yeah.
what you might perceive as, oh, I'm trying to help her, I don't perceive it as, okay, you're trying to help me.
Yeah.
I might see it as, I don't know, maybe they're trying to trick me. And I think that's something to this day I still struggle with it. When someone tries to do something nice, I'm kind of like, but why are you doing that? Like, what reason do you have to do that? And with my mum, it became a thing of, I didn't trust her and I didn't believe her, because the stories that both her and my biological father were always saying about what happened between them never matched up, number one.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way she treated my biological father at all.
Yeah.
And then my biological father just got into my head that my mum hated me. She hated me so much. And sometimes, like, when I'd be living with my mum, I'd experience it. Like, I'd feel like she hated me because of what I am, because I'm his child, his biological child. And because of how much my mum and my siblings hated him, and how much sometimes I think my mum says that I resemble my biological father. I think personally I physically look like my mum. Yeah. But I think just looking at me would remind her of the past and what he put her through in the past. Yeah. And that's where me and my mum were clashing. Yeah. That's where we can't get over what's happened to her, and I'm here because of him. Yeah. And so eventually I pulled away from my mum. I stopped trying to understand her. I stopped trying to get her to see me for me and as his child. I just gave up, and she gave up as well. But she was trying. She was always trying, and she was always telling me like how, like, in her own ways though. It's not like, I think with me as a child, when people explain things to me, I would get it a lot better. If you just tell me what to do, or just tell me, this person's bad, but you don't explain to me why this person is bad, I most likely, the cycle won't break. It's still gonna like remain a cycle. My mum and my siblings never ever explained, like, our communication was so poor. And I think had our communication been a lot better as well, and had I been allowed that space, like as a child growing up, to be able to talk to my mum, to my siblings about things going on, I think things probably would have ended a lot more different. But especially in like a Congolese African household, certain things don't get spoken about. So I felt ashamed to come and talk to my mum and say, okay, when I'm spending the weekends with my biological father, men are actually raping me. Like, I just couldn't feel like I could come to my mum to talk about that. Even like hygiene and stuff, or like, mum, this happened to me and now this has happened. What do I do? I could never. I didn't feel comfortable. Like, I was never made to feel comfortable, like as a girl, to talk about anything. And then eventually I stopped seeing my mum as my mum. She just kind of became like a familiar face. But like a familiar face from my past that I just can't remember like where she's from. But I remember her.
Is it fair to say that you may have been getting brainwashed to like hate your mum?
When you say brainwash, what do you mean brainwash?
I mean,
define brainwash.
I mean brainwashed as in you're going to your dad. He's giving you these rules. He's dropping these hints, these little things in your head to alter the way that you think for yourself. So when you are going to your mum's house, you're not really thinking like you're thinking like your dad.
Me sitting here now, I don't, to this day, I wouldn't be able to say whether or not I've been brainwashed, because it's just been my whole life. Like, that's just always what happens. Someone teaches me something, I learn it, and then I just apply it to my life and then conform to it. So, did he brainwash me to hate my mom? He influenced me. But I think ultimately, I knew wrong from right. Like, from a very young age, I've always been like smart. I've always known wrong from right. I think I also have to take some type of accountability. And that's why now, to this day, I understand why my mum says that I've hurt her and I've hurt her feelings, because I think I have. She's tried to help me multiple times when my life was at risk, and I didn't let her help me. And I understand why she would step back, because you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. And I think
the thing is, it's sad because you was just a child.
I know, that's what I was going to say. Many people come up with excuses and be like, oh, you was just a child, you was just a child. But I was a child who was aware of a lot of things from way before, like, I should have been made aware. I knew wrong from right from a very, very early age. I don't know why I decided to go down that path and why I ended up committing my whole life to that cult. I think it's just down to do with family dynamics, and again as well, my biological father, I was his only child at the time, and obviously on my mum's side, it was a packed house, overcrowded. There was so many of us. When I went to my biological father's house, it's like, and his family as well, I'd receive a level of attention I'd never got. Like, growing up with my mum, I don't really know her family that much. All I know is that she has a mum and a brother. Like, I don't really know them too tough. But with my biological father, it's like, because I was the only one there, everything was concentrated onto me. Whereas when I was living with my mum, it just felt like no one saw me, because I wasn't getting on with my siblings. I was very much the quiet sibling. Like, no one would know, like, no one would have to check on me. Like, I'd probably be reading a book or something in the corner of the bed or something. And that probably could have influenced it, especially as a child.
I think personally, my opinion, I think the breakdown of relationship with your siblings, your dad feeding you these little things, obviously you're coming home to your mum's, it's very cold, there's no warmth there, you're not getting the love that you should be getting as a little girl, to the point where even your siblings are not talking to you. You're in a household where no one's talking to you. So I guess going to your dad's was an easier option, or like believing or feeling like you're loved from your dad was an easier option. You mentioned earlier that obviously your dad set these rules, these laws you should conform by, and he also introduced you to a cult. Let's talk about the first time you lived with your dad. What was that like? So we're out of the McDonald's now. we're not doing the visits anymore. You're now going there, you're sleeping over, you're staying over. What was that like for you for the first time?
So the first time I ended up, so I went from visiting him at McDonald's, obviously, to then spending weekends and staying with him, to then living with him. Obviously, the first time I was exposed to the cold and like growing up in the cold was during my weekend visits. So I'd visit him every other weekend and split like holidays and half terms with him. And like my earliest recollection of like actually being there with him and like the cult happening was, and I always go back to this small apartment that we lived in.
Yeah.
It wasn't even an apartment, but he had a house, let's say, and it was the size of a box.
The house was the size of a box.
Yeah, it was literally the size of a box. The bathroom was right there, the bedroom was right there, like everything was all together.
Really on top of each other, yeah.
And I just remember like my memories of me in that house was it constantly being packed and like me up in the corner on the bed, and then there just being like a bunch of people.
How old was you when you actually started staying there on weekends, every other weekend?
Maybe 4.
Okay.
4 upwards, between the age of 4 and 5.
Okay.
And I just remember like every time I think of that house, that's literally the earliest memory I have of it.
Yeah.
Or like the time when we was in the house and a fire alarm went off in the building, and everyone was running out to go to the van, and I remember I got thrown in the back.
Why is everyone running to the van?
I don't know. I literally just, I get these things in my head like sometimes where I just, bits of the past just randomly come back to me. It's like now as I'm talking, I just randomly remember that.
Yeah, it sounds like they were trying to run away from something or get away from something. They just threw you in the back, because when a normal fire alarm goes off in a normal building, people usually get a towel. They just wave it off. They take the sound off. If it's that deep, the fire brigade pulls up.
I mean, but we were never the type of people to call for help. Being a part of that and living with my biological fathers taught me to not ask for help.
Yeah.
Even to this day, something that I'm trying to like overcome, because obviously being in the cult, you learn that people aren't trustworthy. You learn that people are bad, people hurt you. You can't trust anybody and no one's going to be there.
Yeah.
And I would be lying if I said I still don't believe it today. I think to this day, I still kind of believe it. I'm not really sure to what degree, but in an instance where it is that we did need help, let's say, for example, the help is not going to come. The help is us.
Yeah.
Because to even get help, you need to see that there's an issue first to even be able to get the help.
Yeah, of course.
We struggled to identify that there was an issue that needed like resolving and stuff. And so no one ever came to help. Like even if I'd been in a fire before, I didn't get any help for that.
Yeah.
My leg was burned. I didn't call for help just because I didn't know. I'm not used to calling for help in situations like this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've done it before. I've had to call the police a few times on my biological father. Yeah. But especially when it comes to myself, I think that's just because when it involves other people, no time, I won't waste any time straight. I'm snitching. Yeah. But when it just came to me, and I think because my self-respect was made to be so low, like being with them, I just kind of forgot about the word help.
Yeah, I mean, coming from an African background, I could slightly get it, because it's like we're immigrants. Do you know what I'm saying? We come into this country and we want to do everything by ourselves. We want to stay in our bubble. We want to stay in our circle. Like any sort of like authorities, it's like, no, don't call the authorities. Yeah. It's like we feel like we're going to get in trouble if we contact the authorities. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember one time I set the bin at my house. I was a kid, I was playing with matches. I threw the match in the bin, whatever, totally nonchalant, moved on to it. Next thing I know, the fire alarm's going off, going crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? But as a kid, I didn't know what to do. My parents went in. Next thing I know, the whole hallway bin is just set alight. The fire brigade came, everything. I remember that day where I got in so much trouble, but my parents was more like fixated, like, on the fact that you made the fire brigade come here, like, like you made them come out, like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like they come into our house, they seen how we're living, this and that, and I feel like a lot of African parents are like that. But you was at your dad's from the age of 4. You said that it was a box house that you was living in. You said you remember men coming in and out. You referenced a cult. Tell us a bit more about this cult, of what you remember from when a little girl. Like, how was you introduced to this cult?
So when I was younger, and I was having visitation of my biological father, and I started learning the rules. Initially, when I first learned the rules, I wasn't aware of other people. I wasn't aware that there was a whole other, as we would call each other, family.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that there was this whole other family that I belonged to. But I think it kind of came at the right time in my life, because things with my mum weren't good. I was kind of struggling, like, to find a family in my own actual family.
Yeah.
And so when we'd learn all the rules and stuff, and my biological father was really, really sad. He was very, very sad. Like, especially after I learned the rules, he just he went quiet.
How old was you when you can finally say, I've learnt the rules, like you knew the rules?
I think it took me until I was about a couple of months, because it was very intense.
Yeah.
Like, every weekend, every time I was with him, before I could even do anything, it was always, so when I was allowed to play outside, because I used to be allowed, when I say outside, I mean, like, when we was living in the box place, there's just the road.
Yeah.
I go up and down on the scooter. And before I could even be allowed to do that, I had to memorize those rules to a T.
Yeah.
And then recite it all back to him. And even sometimes I'd get it wrong, and he'd make me go all the way back.
Seriously?
No matter what number I was on, I could get number 89 wrong, go all the way back to 1.
Yeah.
And then recite the whole thing again. So I literally had to learn it. And because I was very academic back then as well, and so I kind of used to treat it as homework.
Yeah.
And so even when I wasn't with him, I would literally go into the twins' room at my mum's house and close the door and just put the lamp and be learning the rules. And eventually, I didn't even have to think. It just came to me.
Yeah.
Like, I could just randomly recite any kind of rule. Like, he used to just be able, I wouldn't have to do it chronologically. He could just ask me any rule, and I would just,
It would just throw a number and you'll be like, yeah.
Exactly. But eventually, when I finished learning the rules and I was spending weekends with him and stuff, obviously I was very used to my biological father sexually abusing me. He'd been doing that. But I remember on this one occasion that someone else was there. There was 2 people. And I didn't even know, like, what was going to happen. But I do kind of remember thinking in my head that the same thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I just sat there,
Yeah.
as I always did. And then eventually my biological father started to talk a lot more.
Yeah.
He went really quiet. Like, he went through a phase of being, like, really, really, really quiet. It was really scary.
After you learnt the rules?
Yeah, like, when I say quiet, I mean he would just be sitting there and, like, just staring blank. Like, it's like he wasn't there. You could click in his face, you can whatever, like, poke him. He wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
And 2 times, one of his friends had to drop me back to my mum's house because he wasn't able to. And then he started drinking, and everything was a mess with him. Until eventually he told me, and I literally remember this conversation. We was in a park, and I won't lie to you, sometimes to this day, sometimes I'll just go to that park because I don't know why I seem to remember this day, like, to a T. But sometimes I just go to the park just so I can kind of relive the conversation again. But he was basically saying how he's really sick, but in his head, he needs help. And sometimes he feels like he doesn't want to live and it's scaring him and he doesn't want to leave me. And I remember, like, I had my scooter in my backpack and I was just saying, like, oh no, why? Like, let's go play because like, the swings and stuff. And he was like, there's only one thing that I can do to help him.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, our relationship was like this.
Yeah.
Like, I was a daddy's girl. And we were so close.
Yeah.
And so when he told me that the only way to help him is by listening to his friends and what his friends can do, obviously you're not going to jump and think, oh, he's going to make me do da-da-da. I just was kind of like, okay, I'm going to listen to you. You said I need to listen to your friends. I'm going to listen to your friends.
Yeah.
And that same day, we came back from the park in the evening. He was meant to drop me at 4.
Yeah.
He didn't drop me at 4. He dropped me at, I think it was like 7-Eleven or something. He dropped me at like 7-Eleven. And that evening, after we went to the park, we came back to the flat and there was just people there. But I got food after. Every time visiting my biological father as well, food was a big issue. Like, I could see that he was financially struggling as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes couldn't watch TV. Sometimes the power was off. He had like not like a TV like how a TV would be in the house, but it was like a box set thing and I could put in my CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes the power wouldn't work or he couldn't turn the cooker on and stuff. And so I could see that financially he was struggling.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't understand like what I could do to help until I started to pick up on the fact that every single time these men hurt me and every single time something happens, we have more money. I can have a scooter. We're going to go to France and go and see his parents and stuff like that. And I started to kind of realize that this was a job, like I was kind of working. And so from a very young age, I used to always say to people like, oh, I'm working, I've got a job. But no one
knew.
Yeah, like obviously no one knew and no one would say anything. Just kind of like, oh, yeah, sure.
Did you ever see any money being exchanged?
Yeah, all the time. They had no shame in like showing you that this is transactional to your face.
Yeah.
Like they could be tying me down and then the other people would be standing there like watching me being tied down and handing the money.
Yeah.
Like literally handing envelopes to each other. And I won't lie to you, especially as I got older and I started to see it a lot more.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit, because I guess the reason why people are doing it is different. Like they're doing it for financial reasons. Obviously, I could be doing it for financial reasons, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I've noticed that it's more so for emotional reasons as well.
In what way?
I haven't seen my biological father in like 4 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss the environment. Sometimes I miss him. I miss my siblings, and I can't seem to get myself. I think the present is an issue that I really struggle with. I'm not living in the present. I'm living in the past, and because of that, my present is now mirroring the past.
Yeah.
I'm finding myself in this endless loop that I just can't break because for what 14, 15 years of my life with him, it was like that. And then it just continued to be like that even after him, that now I can't live in a world where someone isn't doing what it is that I know for them to be doing to me.
Yeah. I think it's a difficult one, because you are a victim. I want you to recognize that. I know you're probably thinking you're not a victim.
But I'm curious, like, why do you think I'm a victim?
The reason why I think that you're a victim is because you was exposed to loads of things, and you didn't have a choice at that age. You got manipulated into thinking what you was doing was fine, that it was okay. The love that you had for your father also, that got manipulated because your dad used that to his advantage. He knew that you were a daddy's girl. Like he knew that I love my dad. You know what I'm saying? And he exploited that. He used that to whatever reasons, whether it was financial gains or just gains in general. Like he used that, and you're a little girl. You weren't any wiser to be like, no, Dad, this is silly.
You know why I don't see myself as the victim? It's literally because what you just said, it just reminded me.
Yeah.
You see how we was talking about he might be doing it for financial reasons, and I said earlier that I do it for emotional reasons. Now I've come to realize. I also think that he too did it for emotional reasons. Yeah. And for that reason, I think that's why I don't victimize myself, because I see myself resembling my biological father so much. Yeah. It's so scary. And he's not a victim. I know he's not a victim. I know that what he does is not pleasant for me. Yeah. And I don't know that it's wrong towards me, but I know 100% it's wrong towards other people. But I think for that exact reason is why I don't see myself as a victim, because me and him both have in common that it's different. I'm at a different end. He's the one who's actively doing it, and I'm the one who's receiving it. And because I'm so used to receiving it, I don't know how to allow myself to be viewed as the victim. And because he's so used to being the one to kind of like implement it, I don't think he's able to see himself as being, let's say, the perpetrator, as people would say.
Have you heard of the phrase Stockholm syndrome?
When people are obsessed over the person that hurt them.
Well, I'll tell you the true definition of it for clarity for yourself and the viewers. Stockholm syndrome is a psychological response where hostages or abuse victims develop positive feelings towards their captors or abusers. It's a coping mechanism characterized by a bond, sometimes including affection or sympathy, with the person causing them harm. It's not a recognized mental health diagnosis, but rather a way to understand the emotional response some individuals have in these situations.
But see, it says it stems from a bond. I don't think me and him have a bond, so I don't think Stockholm syndrome applies to me.
You don't think he had a bond? I think he had a bond.
We had a bond when I was younger, but all these years later, like I'm not even talking the 4 years I've just been in care. Me and him stopped having it. The minute I came to permanently live with him, when I was 11, I'd say that's when like I lost him forever. Like I was still living with him, but when I was 11, he wasn't human anymore. He was so like I didn't even remember his voice like that.
But you know, a bond doesn't have to be a physical bond. It could be an emotional bond. It could be an intellectual bond. Like
But I don't know if I'm bonded to him or just to the experiences itself, because there's so much to uncover about why it is that I guess my experiences are still my experiences to this day.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's siblings, like I miss my siblings, and my siblings, everything that I love is basically stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And in order to kind of get like, this is going to sound crazy, but sometimes I forget how my little brother, my little sister look like or sound like and stuff.
Yeah.
And especially when I didn't have a phone.
Yeah.
And I was running away a lot whilst I was in care. I was finding myself back in these situations, but I wasn't finding myself back in it for money and stuff. I was finding myself back in it so I could remember like how it felt and my siblings and their faces and stuff. Because that's just how, like, I don't know how to explain it, but that's the closest way sometimes I can get to remembering them.
Yeah.
Like remembering them asking me like, okay, what time are you going to come back? Why are these people hurting you and stuff? Like, I feel like those experiences kind of bring me closer to them. And that probably sounds really, really bad.
I mean, yeah, it does sound bad if I'm going to be honest, but it's your brain has been.
See,
You know,
this is what I feel like my brain can't.
You
I
know when
feel like
someone, you know when someone goes to the army, yeah. A bit extreme example, but I'm gonna use it. You know when someone goes to the army, they get trained to think a certain way. You know, imagine you as a normal person, you walk into an army camp, you get given a gun, and you're told, go to the front line, shoot these people. They're shooting back at you, and then you can go back home. It's crazy. You're going to think, what the hell? That's why the army has concentrated camps where they teach people mentally to accept what they're doing and accept that what they're doing is right, and to accept that when they are going out to kill people, they're doing it for their country. I'm not in the wrong. This isn't murder. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of like in that mindset where you have been trained in a way, like you've been taught things in a way, you've been introduced to cults which have their own way of thinking, and you've walked out of there and you thought, no, what they're doing is right, what you lot are doing is wrong, what's
But you know
acceptable and what isn't.
Sorry to interrupt, but I feel like when I would go through those phases and like the times of, because I always get into those moments of questioning like, okay, me doing this, is this what I really want to do or not? But I feel like time and time again, I found myself in situations that have shown me that I feel like the cult is the only place that I belong, because it's the only consistent thing I've had. Like, I got taken out of my biological father's home in 2021. I've moved to thousands, not thousands literally, but bare placements. And through all of that move, all the people who have left, all the change in therapies, the change in boroughs, address, social workers, it's literally always been the cult to always, not my biological father's cult, but it's always been this one specific cult, the one that was responsible for my car accident. It's always been them to be there. Like, no matter which, like, they might sell me to this group or whatever, but they always just kind of, they're always there lingering.
And
that sounds bad to people. That's probably
yeah.
like, oh, they're probably still preying on you and stuff like that. But then to me, in my head, no one's done the whole checking thing. No one stays. People just do what they need to do and then go. But then the fact that it makes me feel like I have somewhere to return to and somewhere that I belong. Because especially like when you're in care, you lose your sense of identity and sense of belonging. That yes, you've given me a placement and it has an address and whatever, but it doesn't feel like home.
Yeah.
Like when I'm upset, sometimes it's not the place that I want to go to. But then other times, like I think of the cult and I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'm upset and I want to go back there because I know they're not just going to be there today. They'll be there any other time that I need them. And then again, also, it feels like I'm fulfilling the role and fulfilling my duty as a sacrificial lamb. Number 3, it feels like people would be proud of me. People who I've left in my past, it feels like they'd be proud of me. And because I constantly seek validation as well from people, I've noticed that about myself because I understand why I do, because none of my parents really ever gave me that attention growing up.
Yeah.
Not in my education, not emotionally, not personally.
Yeah.
And so I started to kind of seek validation through other things, and I guess that's one way to seek validation. And I noticed as well that the only way that my biological father would ever give me any sort of attention, I guess, was if he was ever hurting me or doing something. That's the only ever way that I was ever loved, was through that way. And because the cult does that, I see that as stability. I see it as constant stability, because they're doing the things that that happened to me in my childhood. And so I'm so used to that I'm telling myself it's stability, and I seem to believe it.
So let's break down this cult then, because your first experience of this cult, or should I say men coming into the house, was you was a young girl. Your dad obviously has told you that he has mental issues, if you like, and that he's going through a lot, and the only way it can get better is if you listen to his friends. Now, you went home that evening and there was men at the house. What was your first experience with these men, and where was your dad? What was he doing?
If he wasn't involving himself, he would just be there watching. Like, I have so many memories. Like, I don't know if this is going to make sense to people, but like sometimes, like when I'm talking, like I see it in front of myself as I'm talking about it.
Yeah, of course.
And like, I'm saying that to say, like, when I actually think of him and when I think of the cult, I remember all of those times where they had me tied up, they had me like cuffed, or like my legs and arms bound together, and I would call out to him for help, and like he would just look away. Like he taught me, like, as my mom said, no one's gonna help you, no one's gonna come. You have to help yourself. And I started to see that, I started to understand. I do understand why she would say that, but the cult from the very beginning, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was like a family dynamic. Like, I thought, okay, I'm finally having a family that I need, because it was like we were all there together. We had a very strict routine, like very, very strict routine. Wake up at 6. I was awake at 6. Always on the dot of, at 6, I'd be woken up. And then, like, we would do prayer and stuff like that. And I remember when I was younger, first, it was always whipping. I always get whipped every morning. I had to get whipped.
Every morning?
Yeah, literally every morning I always had to get whipped. Like, it was literally routine.
What, whipped on your hand? Like,
no, I have to take my top off and I get my back whipped.
Really?
Literally every morning. What do you call it? Every morning from Friday to Saturday, not on a Sunday. From Friday to Saturday, I'd get whipped. And
do you have scars there now?
Yeah. And do you know what? I always struggle with a lot of my scars too, because I've got scars from like years back, like childhood scars, and then obviously the more experiences I've gone through, the more scars I guess have been implemented on me. But yeah, I still do have the scars. But they made it seem like it was like a big family, because we didn't live together, but every time like I was there, we kind of all temporarily lived together, and everything we all did was like in unison. We all learned how to speak the same way, learned how to address people the same way, different names and stuff, and the way we would dress as well. And the way that we would dress as well was different. So like we weren't allowed to wear white. Like the people higher up were always wearing white. We like had to wear like different dark neutral colours. I was typically always in black, because the more I started getting hurt, the more like I started bleeding and stuff started happening, and I wasn't getting any medical attention and stuff.
So these men, they weren't just coming around and just having like normal sex. They were physically tying you up, physically hurting you, assaulting you, if you like.
Yeah, and we were praying. They just did what. Like, when I look back at that initial group and I compare it to all the other groups I've been in, I don't personally think that was the worst group I've ever been in. Like, if anything, I'm looking back, like, as I'm talking, I'm kind of looking, I'm thinking, I think that was very minor. Yeah. Like, it sounds bad, like, they were doing this and they were doing that. I guess to other people, it sounds bad because people aren't used to that. Yeah. But whereas I'm used to it, and now I'm kind of sitting and I'm kind of like, I've been through similar situations like that. I've been in other cults as well, been in other groups, but I feel like my biological father's group, it was the most hurtful one, like in terms of emotionally, but physically, I wouldn't describe what they did to me as torture. I think I was tortured in the other groups when I came into the care system. I think here, with my biological father, what they did was just, they objectified me in a way that really, I guess, confused me, because it even got to a point where I stopped identifying with myself, if it makes sense. I stopped kind of seeing myself as a human. Like, obviously, the rules state that I don't have any human rights, so that's another thing.
That's one of the rules?
Yeah. But I stopped kind of identifying as, like, a human, believing that I should be allowed to have feelings. I should be allowed to have thoughts. Like, I stripped everything away from myself, if that makes sense.
I think it's very difficult to put myself in your shoe. I think for anyone that's watching this, they need to really try and understand your mindset then, and try and understand your mindset now, instead of judging you or anything like that. Because I feel like it would be difficult for anybody to try and judge you and to even try and blame you. I know you somehow take some sort of accountability. I don't know why, but you do. And it hasn't been easy for me sitting here listening to these things that you've gone through, but you're the one that's actually lived it. Do you know what I mean? So it is fair to say that your mind is going to have a switch of confusion, a switch of what's right and what's wrong, a switch off on emotions and things like that. So it's fine, like, whatever you're feeling or whatever you're saying, it's like, I don't think anyone can put themselves in your shoe and be like, well, she should have done this or she should have done that.
I think it's easy for people to say I should have done something or I should have whatever.
Yeah, of course it is.
Now they're not in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine for people to think that I should have done whatever, because I have those moments where I'm thinking, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. But I don't know how to explain it. For someone who's so stuck in the past, I always have those moments of just, oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I trust me, I think about it all the time. But I know myself well enough to know that when I make a mistake, I do tend to learn from it.
Yeah.
Like, I ponder on things so much. I don't like to let mistakes repeat itself.
Yeah.
At all. You can apply that in school. You can apply that in friendships and whatever. As soon as I know, as soon as I'm aware of an issue and I believe that it's an issue as well, it will no longer be an issue, kind of thing.
How many cults was you subjected to? Like, and how long was you in one cult before you went to another cult? And how did you even find these cults? I know I just fired like 3 questions at you, but take your time answering them.
So when I was with my biological father, it was always the same consistent cult. Different people would come and go, but it was the same people. Like, it was stable. Yeah. Like, that's when I had like some sort of stability, I'd say. Then I came into the care system, which is another thing. I came into the care system and I basically became exposed. Coming to the care system really did expose me to like the dark side of life. Yeah. Especially on my own and as a young 14-year-old black girl as well. Yeah. When I became exposed to this whole new world, just because I couldn't let go of the world that social services took me away from. Yeah. There was no turning back. Like, it was like, it just sucked me like so quickly. But I guess, not that I'm gonna give anyone tips or like encourage or whatever how to do these kind of things, but when something is your whole life, you just know how to just,
of course, comes. It's automatic. Yeah. And
that's what happened. I found myself in the system and away from everything else, and I decided to go back to the only thing that I thought would be there, which was physical hurt. Like, I'm so used to someone always physically hurting me that even when I came into the care system, I felt like it had to keep happening. Because when it wasn't happening, when I first came into care, I was really struggling, like really badly struggling.
When you say you wanted someone to hurt you, what kind of hurt are you referring to?
It was so weird, especially when I came into care. It was so weird having like freedom, walking around the house, going to the kitchen. When I remember the foster care was like, help yourself. I was like, what do you mean help yourself? Yeah. Like, that was just so weird. And obviously, all of a sudden, like, I didn't get time to adjust. Like, it wasn't even a transition. It just happened. I've always been an emergency. So when I came into care, I was an emergency and I had to go and stay somewhere else and then get moved.
because I'm making the most of my phone in case they take it away. I'm so tired.
Like, there was no, let's slowly transition her, like, into this other world. That's what they were doing, essentially. They were taking me away from one world and putting me back into another one because they thought that the world that I grew up in was unsafe and they thought that they could provide me with a better life.
Yeah.
And I think because of the lack of time I had to adjust and just kind of feeling like I was just thrown into it, it felt like I couldn't find my feet.
Yeah. Like, it would do.
It was just so weird. And then especially, like, as well, the one thing that's always playing on my mind, like, when I think of when I came into care, was the bedroom. Like, bedroom was always the place that, like, where everything happened. And so seeing a bedroom, like, different to how it was that I usually see a bedroom, like, I'm seeing a bed, I'm seeing a heater, I'm seeing a TV, I see a wardrobe. It just, that's when I kind of realized that, okay, this is not the life. I'm not used to this. This is what I call life. This is not my world. I'm in a different world.
What was the bedroom that you was used to?
I was used to having the bedroom with the cage. Like, I always slept in the cage. I wasn't allowed to sleep on the bed. We didn't have any mattresses apart from in my biological father's room.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to see. So the windows were, like, blocked off. So, like, no sunlight would come through. So it was, like, always dark in there. And we weren't allowed wires and stuff. Like, you know,
wires?
Plugs and wires and stuff.
You weren't?
We weren't allowed any wires and stuff.
Why is that?
Because one time I was getting hurt and I fought back and I tried to use the wire to defend myself.
Oh.
And so since then, the room was stripped bare. You're just literally just going to find, well, in the past, the cage, literally there, everything else cut off, and then, like, boxes and stuff around us.
You were forced to sleep in a cage with no sunlight and traffic between warehouses. How did that shape your relationship with your own body and your sense of safety?
Constantly being subject to, I guess, cults, especially coming into the care system. So obviously I came into care on the 6th of July, 2021.
Yeah.
And when I came into care at first, I thought my experience, I don't even know what I thought. I just didn't think what's happened was going to happen. So people say, like, never say never. But especially coming into the care system, the system that's designed to protect and safeguard vulnerable young children, and it doing the complete opposite for me, I think it kind of solidified in my mind that I'm not worthy of anything and, like, I'm an object, and I guess cults are going to be the rest of my life. Yeah. Because I came into care and I was very, very overlooked. No one gave me any help. Like, have, you know, like, people survive things, they'll give you, like, survivor support.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when I first came into care, I was just dumped. Everyone saw me as independent.
Yeah.
She goes to school by herself, she does this, she manages everything fine, like, she's good. When you've taken me out of years, a lifetime of cult activity, a lifetime of people hurting me, and now randomly I should just, like, adjust to the fact that it's going to hurt me.
You can't.
It was hard. And so I found myself back in the same situation, like, literally same chance, same everything, just different people's hands.
One thing I realised about this country is the people that they will help the most with mental health is veterans, army veterans. You go to the army, you're going to get all the support for mental health. They're going to make you get the support for mental health. You see, the minute you're a victim for something else, you've been abused on something else, you've been through stuff, whether it's a stranger or someone that you know, or even you go to prison, you come out, there's all sorts of traumas in this world that no one cares, that no one supports you, and you're right, there is no transition into these things. But you go to the army and come out, there's a solid transition of how we're going to get this person back into the community, back into civilization with normal people. You didn't get that, like, and you should have got it, because, like, what the hell, like, do you know what I mean? Like, how on earth can a young girl go through all of these things? They're aware of everything that you've gone through, and they're just trying to treat you tomorrow like it's a normal day. It's crazy.
But I don't know. I know everyone's going to kind of be like, oh, don't blame yourself. But I feel like that's where I have to step in and take accountability, because someone did try to help me. That was my mum. Way before I even came to the system, and I said no. And I feel like that was me setting myself up, kind of. And
Yeah.
like, that's where the pattern of, I guess, people leaving me and not wanting to help me started, because I rejected the help from my mum. Obviously, that might be like a far reach, but in my head, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I didn't get help before, and so the system ignored me. But I guess the system as well is complicated. It's very complicated with the system, because obviously, to my mum, I'm meant to be her daughter. To the system, I'm a case file. They have many cases to go through, and I guess each case costs money.
Yeah.
It's money, time, meetings, effort, everything.
Of course it does, yeah.
And the system is overworked. I agree with that. The system is 100% overworked. But I think because even sometimes on my TikTok, I talk a lot about the system on my TikTok. And, you know, you get a lot of people saying, oh, but it's not fair because they're overworked. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But where I'm trying to get people to understand that the system is broken isn't because, oh, the system has made a couple of mistakes and is tired. It's because there's a difference between neglect and just a simple mistake. I think they've repeatedly made mistakes over and over and over again in terms of my case and my situation. It gets to a point where I can say, hey, that's actually neglect.
Yeah.
There's been times in the system as well where it's confused me, because the system has done exactly what my parents have done to me. Literally exactly what my parents have done to me. Obviously, I haven't had a social worker put her hands on me and stuff, but I've had a staff member put her hands on me. And basically, even though it was a she did exactly what my biological father did to me. But the difference is that I was living in accommodation provided to me by social services. I was living in a children's home. There was staff members, there was managers, there was everything. And everything I went through in terms of being trafficked in that house didn't get seen. And what confuses me about that situation specifically as well was because my stepmom was treated like a perpetrator when the police had found out what was going on and about me being beaten up. She was treated as a perpetrator.
Yeah.
But when it happened to me in the system, every guy's a free man. Everyone's walking freely, enjoying their life and everything, despite what happened to me. And so that's where it kind of confused me, because the system picks and chooses who to call out. Like, when I came into the system and what happened to me with my biological father happened, I had, like, when I say so much support in terms of legal support, like, I didn't have to lift a finger. I didn't have to call my own solicitor. I didn't have to text people and get people on TikTok to send me links for lawyers and whatever that I could take on my case. Social services handled every single thing when it came to the case against my parents. But when I was hurt in the system by one of their own, number one, I wasn't made aware of my rights legally. I'm not gonna lie, I've had to do a lot of research and like do my own thing and stuff to actually realize that, number one, a crime took place.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm eligible for things like compensation, I'm eligible for legal support. And number three, that's a whole case in itself against the house. I wasn't aware of any of that, like, at all. And that happened to me during GCSE time. I've only just now got legal support for that, literally just Friday.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a bit. Let's break it down. So you went through a hell of a lot with your dad, literally. You was introduced to a world that no child should ever be introduced to at that age, or at all, should I say. And the social services, the care system became aware of this, and they put you into protection. They put you into one of their own government-approved social care homes to look after you. At what stage was it that you started being abused by someone who works there, and it was a woman?
That happened further along, like, my time in care, a year into me being in care. So I've been in care for like a total of 4 years. A year into me being in care.
How old was you?
It started when I was 15. Started when I was 15, ended when I was 16. But just to paint the scene, before that, prior to that, I'd been my own kind of carer, I guess. I've had placements and stuff, but the cult, like, different cults became my whole life. My whole life revolved around the cult.
Yeah.
I prioritized the cult over education. And so I was always the type of person to be going missing, to come back and have burns, to have cuts and stuff like that. Like, I was, the world that I once lived as a child was now the world that I was living away from my biological father, because I guess someone else's terms and stuff. And after some time, like, after some points, you know, it gets to a point where social services have to do something.
Yeah.
Physically, I am being, like, my body was being literally, I feel like I was always being mutilated. I was having things carved into me, things burnt, signs burnt into me and stuff.
Really?
And it got to a point where social services actually had to step in and kind of do things, but it's like no matter where they moved me, I always found myself going back to the same thing. And that's just because the root issue was never solved. The root issue being the fact that I was brought up into a cult and now I'm not in a cult anymore. Like, no one ever solved or taught me how to function in this new world.
Yeah. Wasn't the cult in themselves, weren't they like, no, stay away from her, like the system is involved with her, we can't mess with her, she's the police, it's too much, it's too political?
I don't know how else to say this, but no, because the system's not going to do anything. They've seen it themselves. There's been so many moments where they've been right there and heard situations that this been going on in the home and stuff. The most they're going to do is, are you going to come back? Nope. Okay, we're going to report you to the police. That's it. You'll just get a text message from the police. It's over. Like, they won't, like, they're not going to send people out to come look for you unless, I guess, they have, like, absolute proper reason. But one thing I learned how to do from a very young age, especially coming into the system, was how to be very secretive. I guess I've always been sort of secretive, like, even as a child, because I never felt like I could come to my parents about my feelings and stuff. Yeah. But especially in the system, I didn't give them any information about myself. Like, I literally would not spend the time to get to know any of these people. Yeah. I would just, yep, bye, I'm going out, kind of thing. When my version of going out is, oh, I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to get my arm burnt. Oh, I'm going to go here and they're going to tie me up and do this to me. And I don't know how to, you know, after those situations, like when you think about it, you'd think the person would be crying and in distress. Yeah, of course. But sometimes it felt like it was my breath of fresh air. Yeah. Like it would happen to me and I would just, I don't know, I could just walk away from it and just kind of be like, oh, okay. And so because of that, no one was kind of seeing what it was that was going on with me. Because I've never had anyone who's actually known me to know that, okay, she's smiling, but da-da-da-da. Yeah. And like no one paid close enough attention to notice certain marks and stuff. Only like during summers when I started getting clocked because I was just like, I can't be bothered. But after moving around a lot, I got into a car accident. I got hit by a car. I was put into a coma. Yeah. What, you was walking? How was you hit? I was basically, I didn't want to be a part of, I went through a little bit of a phase of not wanting to be a part of the cults anymore. Yeah. Just because it was very, very time consuming. I felt like they were taking advantage of me financially and what do you mean by that? I just missed my friends. Like, I was still struggling very much financially. So when I came into care, especially at that point, my hair wasn't being paid for. I was still learning about certain correct things for my skin, and there's specific soaps and stuff that I need for my skin because I have really bad acne, which wasn't being funded as it should have been funded by like, what do you call them? The looked after nurse team and like health people and stuff. Okay. And so I found myself like taking on all kind of responsibility for myself, emotional, physical, everything. Yeah, and so I became my own support system. I had to rely on myself. And the only way I was able to rely on myself was through doing what it was that I was doing. But especially at that point, I felt too grown and that I couldn't engage in conversations properly with my friends anymore. And so I just started ignoring them and I stopped turning up to school. And I remember we had like year 10 mocks coming up and everyone was stressing about that. And I just didn't give a care in the world because education has never been anything of importance to me. I've always been good at it, but it hasn't been anything important. My biological father wouldn't really care if I didn't do school. In fact, he encouraged me not to do school. Yeah. I was always punished if I would leave the house to go to school. And so I carried that with me, like even as I grew older, like even when I came into the care system as well, education. Yeah. It's like the care system proved my biological father right all the time. Like every issue that he brought or he caused in my life, it's like they would do it times 10. Yeah. So like I've come into care, I have an issue with education. I struggle to believe that I have that I'm allowed to have an education. Yeah. The care system, they did the exact same thing. They made me feel like I wasn't worthy for having an education. They didn't support my education either. And it just really messed me up. Like the care system really, it just solidified everything. Yeah. Put the cement on the bricks and made the building. That's what it did.
Tell me about this woman that was abusing you. How did you two form a relationship? And how did that relationship transition into something that you was already previously, you was trying to get away from?
So once I got moved after my car accident, so I woke up from my coma and there was just bare people there. And the first person I asked for was my biological father. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have anything anymore. It was all seized by the police. I just remember waking up and I was very, very groggy. I think I tried to escape first. Yeah. And I woke up and they told me that you're not living in London anymore, and I was gonna have to move schools. And I had these 2 people come visit me in the hospital, and they were like, "Yep, you're moving to our care home, da 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 da," and whatnot. And when I moved there, I didn't even know what I thought, because I moved to Essex. It was in Essex.
Okay. Yeah.
When I moved there, number one, I only saw one black person, which is shocking to me. Like, that was shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, from being like around like mixed, diverse, like different type of countries and stuff, to just only seeing one black person, it was a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
But when I moved there was the one black staff member. He was a male, and then I kept hearing about, everyone was talking about, oh, you're really gonna like so and so, and I didn't understand why everyone kept thinking I'm really gonna like this person, because you don't know me, guys.
Yeah.
And then when I seen the person, I seen that it's a black woman.
Oh.
And that's why people kind of pair me and her together. And when she first started, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very hard to work with, especially as a kid. I'm very, very guarded, because people are so unpredictable, and I find people really scary. Like, just because they can't be trusted. Like, you never know what a person could do. You never know what a person could say.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've always been very guarded and stuff. And especially with how I regard social services, I don't regard them as a good thing. So I automatically, as a child especially, I would associate anybody who worked with social services as a bad person not to talk to.
Yeah.
So you could just be like a home therapist, whatever. I'd be like, I'm not talking to you because you work for social services.
Yeah.
As social services sent you to come, so you're going to report back to them.
Yeah.
Like, I always had that thought, and I learned to think like that because of my mum, actually. She thinks like that too. But this black woman, I came out from the hospital and I was in a state, my hair was a mess. You know, since being in care, my cultural needs haven't been met at all. I'm hurt, my skin and stuff, and like with my acne was getting worse, because every time I was going missing, that's another night without my medication for my skin.
Yeah.
That's another night without the GP prescription and stuff. And I just started I let myself go physically and emotionally. I let myself go. So my decisions started to impact every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
And this woman, she seemed to be the only person who I could trust to help me, simply just because we're both black.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was literally just because we're both black.
Yeah.
Whilst everyone was trying to get me shampoos and stuff from Tesco, she wanted to take me to the hair shop in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Whilst other people were talking about me having my hair out, she was looking for braiders and stuff to come to Essex to come and braid my hair, and sorting out financial costs.
She was going above and beyond her job role.
Things that just brought me back to normality.
Yeah.
And at first I started to see her as a sister, and I think that's where things got a bit scary. It's because this was the first ever care home I've been in where it wasn't really professional, where I'd seen an adult as more than a staff member. Usually I'm so good at keeping my distance with people, like with teachers, with professionals, with carers and stuff.
Yeah.
But for some reason with her, I couldn't keep that distance. I kept seeing her as my sister. And eventually, because of my accident and because of what led up to my accident, the dangers of me being in a cult and me being at risk of exploitation, I was placed on a DOLS order, which is deprivation of liberty order. So it's kind of self-explanatory, but you're deprived of your liberty, basically. You're not allowed to go out, you can't do anything. And so my DOLS order, it said that I was on 1-to-1 and I was allowed to be restrained. And so basically at all times I was always with a staff member. Yeah. And so that led to me I felt so isolated during then, because I couldn't see my friends. I just got out of a car accident. My friends haven't seen me in a long time. I missed my friend's birthday. I haven't been to school in like months. I'm in this new area. Like, usually every placement I've been to, my friends, someone is always on the phone with me. Yeah. Walking into that house. Yeah. Always. Even if like none of my friends have ever been able to make it, but someone was always on the phone with me when I was moving. And this time around I didn't have that. And I just remember feeling really, really isolated, and she could see that. And she started to kind of push, like, for me to have a bit more independence and stuff. And she started kind of, giving me, like, sly advice on the side, like,
yes, being supportive.
You're a black girl, so, like, this is how you need to approach things. This is how you need to talk to these people for them to listen to you and stuff like that. Like, I guarantee you, if you talk to them like this, they'll do whatever. And tone for me has always been an issue. My tone as a child, especially coming into the system, I just became so angry. I went from being like a sweet, obedient child to the minute I came to the system, I was so angry. And so my tone with people was always off.
What was her background, this woman?
She was Jamaican.
Caribbean?
Yeah.
And how old was she? Do you remember? Or how old is she now?
She's grown. Like, she's grown.
Bearing in mind, you was roughly around...
I was, 15?
Yeah.
She's double my age.
Okay. So she's obviously started to make you feel comfortable. You've met her. She's another black woman. I mean, I know what that's like as well in terms of like being the only black person somewhere, and then the first black person you see is like you build that connection straight away. I mean, it's natural, it's human nature. We tend to connect with our own easier, I guess. But so after the whole her looking after you and making sure that you had your essentials and everything that you needed to be a girl, how did it turn into something else?
She started to fight for my freedom a lot more.
Yeah.
And like she started fighting my corner, and when she was fighting for my freedom, I was abusing it. Instead of me going to school stuff, because mind you, I'd been locked away for like months. When I say locked away, I mean I can't go outside by myself at all.
Yeah.
No sort of communication with my friends, like
Yeah.
to talk in private. No social media, no nothing.
Yeah.
Like, they're just in my room looking at the wall, basically, or watching TV with the other kids, which was kind of awkward at first. But I started going out and I started smoking weed and stuff, and because as I said before, it's so hard for people to see when there's warning signs with me.
Yeah.
Because I think warning signs for me, like they're not as obvious as I might think they are. And so she clocked me straight away when I came back one day and I was fried. But mind you, they all knew that I had a history of smoking. She knew, and she decided to keep. It started off with one secret. That's how things happen, and I think that's something that's really important. Like when learning about exploitation, is that it always starts off with something so small, and this is how this started. Like it rooted from the fact that we just had one small secret, and that one small secret was the fact that they sent me out to go to school, and I went to go and smoke. Like something so small like that grew up into something so big. Yeah. And eventually, it happened again. She held the secret again. And then she decided one day after I had therapy with the homes therapist that she was going to take me to go and smoke weed. And now when she proposed the idea, obviously first I'm thinking, oh, like, cool. Because I was a bit mad then. I was a bit reckless. Like, you could propose anything to me and I was just, yep. Like, I was just down for anything. Yeah. And I didn't even bother to question her. I just thought she mentioned smoking weed. Let's go. And we drove a very, very long drive, but she was going like in and out ways. Yeah. Like, because I literally remember looking out of the window of that car and trying to suss out where I am.
Yeah,
and it's just dark. And she wasn't going on like any main roads, just like small side roads. Yeah. That it took me the full 7 months of me hiding this to then realize that where she was actually hurting me, I knew where I was. Yeah. Like the whole time. I actually genuinely knew where I was. But she then took me to go and smoke cannabis, but what ended up happening was we turned up to a house and there was just a bunch of men sitting on the stairs, and I already knew it was premeditated because of how it was that they were speaking about me.
How were they speaking?
Staff member, she was always, because we developed a close relationship. Yeah, we spoke about my past a lot, everything that happened to me before, my biological father's cult, the cults that I joined, the people who have hurt me, my car accident. So she knew basically everything about me. Yeah. I am usually a guarded person, but I don't know what was different this time that she made me feel so safe to let my guard down, which I never usually actually do. Yeah. And they started, like, when they saw me, at the first moment that they saw me, they called me a package. He said my package has come. That was his first word, and that's when I kind of knew. That was her first word. No, that was the guy's first word. The guy that she was bringing me to.
He said my package has come.
Yeah, and like everyone was like applauding and stuff. Like it was like.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It
was with your experience of cults and men's behavior, if you like, would you say that this was another cult? Was it the same types of people? Were they African? Were they all Caribbean?
I wouldn't call this a cult. I'd call this like more so a prostitution ring. They were essentially what they were doing was prostituting me. Yeah. And they kind of like, even like when I was talking to other people, like, and I found myself in states of anger, I always found myself calling myself a prostitute. But essentially what she was doing was selling me to people basically for sex and then getting the money, and then I get rewarded with drugs and stuff, and so would she. And that even caused me issues because I had like a really, really bad, I've gone through phases in and out, especially as someone seeing their parents use drugs very heavily. I've gone through my own fair share struggles of like drugs and stuff, and I had just like, you know, calm myself down with being okay about no substances, because being on the doles, there's no way to get these substances. There's no way to get other people to hurt me other than her.
Yeah.
And she just brought back what felt familiar.
Yeah.
And I guess that's when that world started happening.
Yeah.
But it quickly got out of turn and out of hand very quickly. Like, I was never in control of it to begin with. I noticed that and I knew that. But she started off being in control and then she lost control.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made me speak up, because I didn't speak up about it because I thought it was wrong. That's not why I spoke up about it. I spoke up about it because I was scared for her, because of how out of control she was becoming and how things were just slipping out of the cracks so bad. I ended up, it continued for 7 more months.
Yeah.
It started in November when I moved to that home. November 2020. I think I moved there in 2022.
Yeah.
November 2022 to when I did my GCSEs. When I did my RS GCSE. And even that, the system failed to notice that from that point, one of their own is actually hurting me. Like, she was hurting me herself. On top of that, you're giving me to other people as well. You're making a profit of that. You're giving me drugs. And then you're also forcing me to take drugs as well, even if I'm not able to actually physically take the drugs.
What was the drugs that she was trying to make you take?
She had me really, really badly hooked on these pills. Like, I'm telling you, if I wasn't on those pills, nighttime was not nighttime.
Do you know what those pills were?
It was ketamine. But yeah, she had me on that. She had me smoking a lot. It was crazy. And obviously, living in that care home, you know, they're going to obviously clock that, okay, she's got drugs and stuff. I'm getting in trouble for it. She's not. Even when she's not on shift, it's my neck for it. Like, everyone's coming at me. Everyone's disrespecting me. Everyone's getting onto me about doing this. And because of how unprofessional that house was and stuff, it just made things a lot more difficult for me. Like, I started to feel like I couldn't speak to anybody anyways.
Yeah.
Because people kind of started to, they were very judgmental.
Yeah.
Like, you could read judgment off their face. And yeah, I had to speak up for me. I had to do everything. Even like the warning signs were there. Obviously, I can't go into detail about it because it's like a case now. But all the details and all the signs were there, and the system didn't protect me. And then after that, I remained in the house by choice. I decided to stay because I've noticed with myself, I have a thing of loving to stay. Like, you know, people talk about, oh, you can't heal in a place that hurt you.
Yeah.
I seem to think the opposite. I seem to think that I'm healing whilst I'm in the place that's hurt me because of how that familiar feeling makes me feel.
Yeah.
And so I decided to stay, and it was approved that I could stay, which is crazy because after I told everyone about what happened with me and my biological father, like to the police, I wanted to go back and they said no, like it was non-negotiable.
Yeah. But
in this instance, when something's happened to me in the system, I wanted to stay and I was allowed to stay.
That's crazy.
And so I stayed, and even after I stayed, I guess that's when the flaws of the system like became more apparent.
Yeah. Because
I'm not gonna lie, yes, that staff member, she did hurt me, but at the same time, without her, I suffered. Like, my time in that house, I suffered generally. Like, race became such a big thing. That's when, after she left, is when I became more aware of the fact that I am black.
Yeah.
Like, I actually started to think, okay, yeah, I'm actually black.
Yeah.
And I didn't have, there wasn't much diversity. Most of the black people that were there did start to leave after I came like forward with the allegation of what happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because there was always like a racial divide in that house.
Yeah.
Especially with like everyone thinking that a black child can't be raised in a predominantly white area because then there's a question of how you're going to understand her culture, how she's going to learn her culture and stuff like that. And so it shocked everyone for me to come out and say that, okay, guys, we've all been speculating on who's actually been able to access me and hurt me. And I pointed the finger at essentially one of our own. Like, everyone was, I saw how it broke people. Like, physically, I saw people cry, I saw people leave, everyone left. And the system, the system has never acknowledged what it did to me, to be honest. I think it's because I'm so used to going through those things, I think it makes people think that, okay, we don't have to say sorry because you've gone through it so many times. You put yourself in a situation, so why do we need to say sorry to you? Yeah. Because I actually never got a sorry for that. Like, even, especially after, like, I remember I started going viral on TikTok once, like, I made a disclosure, like, after I made a disclosure, because I started just posting videos of me in the house and stuff that, like, caught a lot of people's attention. Yeah. Especially videos of, like, my mental health deteriorating. And it's like, sometimes I wish I could just be like, everyone was always like, oh, you're probably crying because you miss your siblings and stuff, but really and truly, like, it felt so annoying always seeing that, because realistically speaking, I was crying because it's so hard living in the house where essentially you're living in a crime scene.
Yeah, of course.
I'm living in a house where I was hurt for so long that no one realised.
And the
now
fact that they even
put to
allowed
bed.
you to stay there is even just wild for me, because like you said, like, you was abused at your dad's, they told you you're not allowed to go back there. So how on earth did you get approved to stay there? It just goes to show, like, the lack of care the system has for black and minority people, because there's no way in hell, if that was a different race person, they would have kept them there. Do you know what I mean?
I just don't know why the system. I have so many questions for the system to this day, like so many questions. And even my social worker, from when I was still looked after child, she messaged me on my birthday. I still haven't answered her message. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like she doesn't deserve a response from me, especially with how things were left between me and her. But sometimes, like, I look at the message, I'm kind of like, I really want to respond back to her, because I want to know why you did certain things, and certain things were implemented whilst you were my social worker.
Is that the same person that abused you?
No.
Okay.
That was a key worker.
Okay.
But I generally sometimes, like, I just want, because I've never had the conversation. Like, you see how, like, my biological father hurt me. They were attempting to give me that kind of closure by taking it to court, writing the statements, doing my police recorded interview, etc., etc. But with this thing that's happened with me in the system and what she did to me, I see the difference, because no one wants to acknowledge it. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to say sorry to me. Everyone just kind of, even now to this day, it's something that I just have to live with. Yeah. Like, I don't have any therapy. I'm sitting here. This is the closest to therapy that I'm probably going to get in the next couple of months. Yeah. Like, they don't actually care. Even when they do wrong, they don't care. And they can get away with it. Because, and they did get away with it, because when you're in the system and you don't learn to speak for yourself, no one else is going to speak for you, and so things will be overlooked. No one's going to fight for you if you don't fight for yourself. And I feel like the whole time I was in the system, especially after I made a disclosure, I was waiting for someone to come and tell me to take legal action. I was waiting for someone to come and tell me to do something, hence why it took me up until these people boot me out of the house in February 2025 to then start trying to find legal help. And then only now, we're in June, that I've only been successful in obtaining legal help now. And even that was all on my own back whilst doing A-levels. And mind you, all the system, they act as if they promote education, like by having the virtual school and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, they act like all these type of things are supposed to be helping children, but I promise you it hasn't helped me a single bit. Yeah. Right now, I'm currently in exam season, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling simply because, like, I learned sociology, so I need to stop using these key terms, but you learn about, like, material deprivation, where kids don't generally have the resources, like poor housing and stuff like that, as to why, like, it leads to low levels of attainment and stuff in school. For me, it's always been a thing of, material deprivation has been very, very big for me as well, like, especially whilst being in the care system. I feel like I've been deprived of an education both in and out of the system. I feared education. Simply leaving school was dangerous for me, and the system was aware of that, but yet still there wasn't any accommodating needs, like, for my education. There's meetings, there's LAC meetings had and stuff like that, and PEP meetings, and in none of those meetings did it feel like anyone was trying to understand my fear around school, because now is what I'm repeating the year. I found myself now fighting for these A-levels yet again, my last chance, and, like, I'm kind of, it feels like I'm carrying everything and it's just kind of like dropping, because they don't care at the end of the day.
You're right, and I believe that they don't care because it's the system, it's the socials, it's the money, it's business, it's work, it's all the things that people just wake up and attend because it's a job that they have to do, and then go home at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? If you're looking for compassionate, if you're looking for understanding, you can have those things, but
it's a shame though, because I feel like everyone has identified that the system is a failure, but what is anyone actually doing about it, if that makes sense? I think we all know, like, even when I speak to my friends sometimes, I can tell that everyone knows that the system is failing, because, like, let's say, for example, if someone was to be like my friend said to me the other day, oh, social worker's coming, oh, my mum's pissed, that already, like, in my head, I'm kind of like, okay, cool. Yeah. people don't like social workers. People think the system is already failing.
Yeah.
Hence why everyone's always hiding. Hence why everyone's so reluctant to let them in and stuff like that. And I feel like my situation has shown me entirely how the system has failed me. Like, I knew the system was corrupt before, but I didn't think it was this corrupt.
Yeah.
Like, it's ignored me. It's ignored my cries for help. Essentially, the system has placed me in danger.
Definitely.
And I can't really do anything about it other than keep speaking and hoping that everyone will keep, like, listening and keep giving my voice a space to talk.
What was the results of your father? What happened to him? How did that come to an end?
Oh, him and his wife, it was a hung jury.
So they went to court, they got arrested.
Yeah, went to court, they got arrested, tried the case twice.
Mm-hmm.
It was hung the first time and then it was hung again the second time.
Did he get a lot of media coverage, or was it like one of them things they did not want to let out into the public?
I don't think it got let out.
Yeah.
To be honest, even that, I guess that's the legal system. It's the type of system. It let me down as well. Like, it feels like I've been constantly let down again and again.
Yeah.
But then going back to the cult, I can't really name to you a time where it feels like the cult has let me down.
Yeah.
Like, I've had adults fail me, I've had friends, I've had whatever, but it seems like the cult is my only constant. And that's why sometimes, I think that's where I struggle to hate my biological father. My friends absolutely hate him. I hate him. And I generally do not hate the man because